And in our couple's dinner, we were told if you don't have money or lack of money or shortage of money causes conflict or friction between members of a family. How do you connect the two? So that is a question we are going to try to answer. And when I was invited to talk, as you have been told, I'm a student of theology. I opted to stay away from now the theories. But I have told you from the beginning, in the event you feel me tempted going to theories, please caution me. So there is one book I'm going to use to do all my citations, and that is the Bible, which has got a divine wisdom. So this is a very special seminar in finance. And in fact, it may be the first one you've ever attended, where the principles of finance are integrated with what the Bible says. So I will not tell you like the pilots usually tell us when the plane is about to take off. I will not tell you sit down, relax, and enjoy your flight. No. What I'm going to tell you as we start our discussion is that sit up, remain alert, and make sure you grasp something that will help you from today going forward, that will help you organize your finances. So with that, gentlemen, I wonder you can put up my presentation. Put up my presentation, please. Wow. Starting. Okay, thank you. So I chose that. Let me now be moving around and be using a mic, because unlike the pastor, he has been blessed with very big legs, so he can speak without a microphone. But my legs are smaller. But I'm not complaining. I've also been blessed with smaller legs. So we agreed everybody has got blessings. So blessed with bigger legs, blessed with smaller legs. So allow me to use a microphone, and we'll be using the microphone as we take our input. So this is not I'm not just going to talk. It's going to be a conversation. Actually, a training like this, we are not training theories to gain knowledge. We are trying to learn practical things that are going to help us solve the problem and attain what we are calling financial freedom. Financial freedom is a state whereby, I know you may not agree with me from the beginning, but as we get on, you'll agree with me. It's a state whereby you always have money. I mean, to put it in a layman's language. Are there people, is there anyone here who always has money? Every time, if I call you, you have money. I'm sure there could be a few of them here. I'm sure there are, but very few. Could be 1%, could be less than 1%. Majority of us don't have money always. So this financial management, financial freedom, if you follow the steps that you are going to do, and they are not prescriptive, you have to apply them in your own setup. They are not prescriptive, they are not just one-on-one. Apply them in your own setting, and you find you have that freedom, where you always have money, where you are not constrained financially, where you have peace of mind, where you are able to do ABCD, and you never have, well, actually you also being debt-free. That's another thing. I'll be talking about that towards the end, because a lot of us are captives of debts. From the banks, from the circle, from the Shylock, from the digital platforms, we have loans. I'll talk about that briefly because it's a lengthy issue, but I'll give you a tip of how you can go about it. It's a painful journey. It's a long journey to come out of debt, but it is possible. I'll talk about that towards the end. So, gentlemen, let me start. Move to introduction. We start with the outline. Wow, you mean the fonts are that small? And they were bigger in my laptop. But no problem, I'll be able to read. I'll share the presentation with you at the end of the class, the presentation, the forum. I'll start by taking you through introduction. Then I'll move to, we'll cover 5 steps that can enable us move from where we are to financial freedom. The first step is earning income. You have to create wealth. Earning income, you create wealth. I'll share the notes with you. Number 2, you have to maintain that wealth. That is by savings. You maintain the wealth. Number 3, you have to grow. You have to increase that wealth. And number 4, you have to protect that wealth. And number 5, you have to enjoy the wealth. That's why I said today's seminar is going to be one of the interesting. Maybe most of the places you have gone, you've never been told that it is good to enjoy what you have earned. Today we are going to learn that. And the most interesting thing is also biblical, that you need to enjoy what you have actually earned. We'll be seeing that. Okay, and then in number 3, we'll have a key takeaways. 1 slide, and even if you miss everything else through our discussion, if you just print that page, the key takeaways, and apply what is there, you'll be home and dry. It covers what you'll have covered throughout this discussion in a very candid way, in a very smart way, that if you follow those principles, you'll be doing pretty well in your finances. So let's move to the next slide. Yes, I've said that I'm not going to use a theory. Of course, the principles we are going to discuss are based on finance theory, but I'm going to go the practical way. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of theories. Financial pressure affects all of us. I think in my opening speech, I actually talked about it. We are all affected by financial pressure in one way or the other. At one time, you find you don't have money to do what you wanted to do, and then you actually have a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and many people here, including all of us here, think that if you get money, if you get more money than you are getting, all your problems will disappear, will dissipate. In fact, that is the common notion among many people. Let's say, for instance, you are earning a salary of 50,000. You think that if your salary was increased to 200,000, 4 times, your problems will be gone. Never, 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 never. So, there is a paradox we are going to look at when you are in some slides later, that whatever amount of money you get, it can never be enough. It cannot actually make you that happy. It cannot take away all your problems. Your problems will not disappear because you have gotten more money. Never. So, by introduction, I wanted you to get that right from the beginning. In any case, kuna wahenga walisema Kiswahili. We'll be coming across that later. Walisema, maskini akipata, kuna mtu anajua, nani anaweza complete hiyo? Maskini akipata, matakwa uliambatwa. Matakwa uliambatwa. That means when you get more money, your needs multiply. So it is not by getting more money that your problems will disappear. You get more money, your wants or your needs multiply. So you find yourself, you may even have more money and doing even worse than you were doing before. Okay? Then, but having said that, greater financial freedom, that is, if you're able to manage your finances, it's something good to have. And as we navigate through this discussion, you'll be able to see it is good when you have that freedom because you have peace of mind, you're able to do your things without a lot of stress. Okay? Wealth creation starts in our minds. Even before we go to the next slide, let me ask you, what is your view about money? There are people, if you tell them what will happen if you are given 1 billion shillings today, I'm sure in this group some of you will say, no, I don't need that kind of money. What will I do with it? Is that not true? Huh? I give you 1 billion, you say, that's too much. What will I do with it? So it is actually in the state of mind. If you fear making money, then it means that is a message that is in your brain that too much money is not good. And that is what we want to start, that making money, making wealth, getting rich is not a bad thing. You'll be seeing that. So if you are in this class or in this forum and you think that too much money is bad, I know some of them say it will spoil you, it will make you do bad things. No. Let's all agree that making money is not, getting rich or getting wealthy is not something bad. It's something that we all desire to do. So let's move to the next stage and see what the Bible says about wealth. What the Bible says about the Bible view about money and the wealth. Of course, if you are to read, I'll leave you to read those I'm not going to read now. I'll just explain it because, as you are told, I'm a student of theology. So through God's grace, I hope I'll remember what each of those verses say. The subject matter of those verses, not really memorizing them. But the love of money is the root of all evil. If you read 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6 to 10, you'll be able to see that story. You get it from your notes. 1 Timothy chapter 6, it talks about, it's actually Paul who was writing to Timothy, telling him the need to be contented with what you have. And in verse 10, it actually brings out that message that the root of all evil, money is the root of all evil. That is what the Bible says. But it doesn't say that money is bad. What it's saying is that in the process of acquiring that money, if you read those verses, in the process of acquiring that money, too much money, for example, you get tempted into doing bad things, including corruption, including those bad deals, that is what that passage is telling us. So, and the next, that one has disappeared. The next one is that we need to know is that it is God who blesses and makes us rich. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 12. So however hard we work, and I want to give you this illustration. You may have gone to a place of work employed in one company with 2 or 3 people on the same grade, earning the same amount of salary. Are you going to tell me that? Okay, thank you. Are you going to tell me that all of you will be at par in terms of the way you are making wealth, the way you are living? And is there anybody who can share the mic with somebody so that I don't have to talk alone? I need to hear your views. You are employed 5 people in a company, same grade, earning the same amount of income. Are you going to progress the same way? I need to hear your experience. You must have witnessed it if you have worked, for those who have worked. Katiko, even you are employed as a teacher with a number of teachers. Did you all progress the same way?
No. We were all different.
You are all different.
Though we were earning the same amount of money.
Thank you. You are earning the same amount of money. You are working in the same place. But you all progress differently. Why? It is God who blesses us with wealth, and He blesses us differently. So that says very well with what we learned in the morning, that you don't have to compare yourself with other people. You have to be you. When it comes to matters of finance, you are on your own. You are on your own. Okay, it is God who gives us the strength. It is God who gives us the strength and the ability to get wealth or to get rich. That one you find in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 17 to 18. If you read those two verses, you find that it is actually God who gives you the strength to get wealth. That is why when you are employed in the same company, earning the same amount of salary, and you all progress differently in terms of finances, because it is God who blesses you and blesses you differently, and He gives you the strength. So we need to understand that. So don't compare yourself with other people. Don't think that out of your own strength you can become rich. Never. It is God who gives you that strength. It is God who blesses you. So having looked at those few verses, gentlemen, I want to remember, and let us carry this principle all the way to the end, that what the Bible says, I can quote so many verses, but I just needed those few to tell you that it is God who gives us the ability to get rich. It is God who blesses us to get wealthy. And we find that in the Bible. So let's carry this principle. The Bible is God's word. We know it's inspired. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. And it is true what God says. Whether you read it in Genesis, whether you read it in Revelation, that truth is timeless. For those of you who don't know what timeless means, it endures forever. The truth doesn't change. In any case, if it is a word coming from God and God doesn't change, then even His word doesn't change. So the truth remains the same. So whatever promises we have, whatever we read in the Bible, remember, it is true. And it is available for all generations. Whether those generations of that time, our generation, another generation to come, that word remains true. And the promises therein are actually available for all generations to claim. So let's remember that truth as we move across, knowing that it is God who gives us the strength to get rich, the strength to get wealth. Now, I think after that summary, we can move on. I think after that summary, now we can get to the real stuff. I was just talking, just giving a bit of introduction, but at least what I wanted you to get is that it is God who gives us the strength to get wealthy. It is God who gives us the strength to get rich. It is God who blesses us, and God blesses us differently. Just as I said, I'm blessed with the small lungs. Revo is blessed with big lungs, but we are all blessed, okay? So we agree on that fact. So we get on the hard stuff, the real thing now. We are going to go through those 5 steps, but I think after covering 2 steps, we will take a break and stretch a bit so that we don't lose the concentration, if you agree with me. The first step is, I think I bet I can see that one better. The first step is earning income, which is creating wealth. How do we earn income? Can you earn income by just sitting down in your house sleeping? We earn income by working. Let's agree, working. We work in order to earn income. Okay? We agree in that. We have to work in order to earn income. And that working, I think this next time I'll try to make my phones bigger and have many slides. I'm sorry for that because I wanted fewer slides, but I reduced the phone. So work is a good thing. And when God created the world in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, we are in the perfect state of affairs. He took Adam in Genesis chapter 2, verse 15 to 16. He actually placed Adam in the Garden of Eden and told him to take care of the crops therein and also to feed on the fruits that were in that chamber. So when the world was perfect, work was a good thing to do. But when Satan tempted the man and the man fell in Genesis chapter 3, that work was cursed. So work was made hard. Work was made tiring. I believe that before the curse, you could go to the shamba, work, and enjoy the whole day without sweating. That's what I would imagine. It's a perfect creation. But after that, it was cursed, it became hard, you get tired, you sweat. But nevertheless, we still have to work, because in that curse, God said you have to work, sweat, so that you can get something for your mouth. I think today we came across that word mouth in the morning. Something to put in your mouth, you have to work hard, you have to sweat. Okay? We agree on that. So while at that, I want us to now, as a way of discussion, what kind of work can we do to generate income? Because to generate income, to earn income, you must work. And I'm available, if you can share the mic, I'm available to write all the things we can do. I will tell you one of them is you can get employed, you can earn salary, you can do business, you can preach like Revo. You must work. So what kind of work? What kind of work? Yes, Musuba? Pardon? Farming, yes. Yes. Farming, yes. What? Business, yes. Three, let me just write for you employment, because most of us are employed, so we earn salary through employment. Anything else? There are only three. Surely. Sports. Sports. Therefore, your work is not even here. Sports. Anything else? Huh? Musufa has come to your, but I'm not very sure. Preaching is supposed to be, you're giving free, so you give freely. Okay? Anything else? Hey, we are so limited. Yes, please. Huh? Skills. Huh? Consultancy. That you come under business, we will talk about it. Consultancy is business. Yes? Singing. Yes. Which one? Investing, that's business. That's business. He's talking of shares, investing in shares, and many more other. So are we dry? Yeah. Inheritance. Lovely. You can make money. You can get money by inheriting from your rich parents, inheriting. Gambling, no. That one I will not record. In this forum, no, gambling is not working. You may make money, but it's not the right way to make money. Gambling, no. What? Hearts. Draw hearts. Let me stop there. Let me stop there and make an observation. This is what I want you to get. When God created you, he gave so many parts, body parts. Okay, the brain is the center of all, it's the center that coordinates everything. But if you want to know what kind of work you can do, just start from your head. Is the coordinator, the chief coordinator. Come to the nose. Haven't seen anything here. Nose. There are people who earn money by smelling. Do you know that? Huh? I wish Angodan was here because he's there. Coffee testers. What do they use? Their noses. Their smell and the tongue. Eh? Actually, you can use virtually all parts of your body to earn income. So you come to ears, the doctors, when you go there and they are doing some clinical examination, you see them putting things to listen to your lungs, to listen to your heartbeat. They're earning money using their ears. Your mouth, a lot. We have seen singing, seen preaching. We have professors there lecturing. A lot. So you can use virtually every part. The eyes, what can you use the eyes for? Seeing? Can you earn money by seeing? How? Security. You see? So as you go down, the hands, most of the things we use our hands to do, to work. The legs, you run, you swim, you have sports. So actually, virtually, all the parts of your body you can use to earn income. So don't say that you have a limited work, you have limited work. There is nothing you can do. And it's surprising when you hear people say, I have nothing to do. And I'm sure you have come across so many people like that. I have nothing to do. I'm not employed. They say I'm not employed, and so I cannot earn income. Think about it. All your body parts, you can use all your body parts, virtually all your body parts, to earn income. So the first thing in attaining financial independence is working. You have to work, you have to earn income. And the principle I want you to pick from today henceforth, if you only have one source of income, and mark my words, I'm not saying that you'll be constrained. If you only have one source of income, for instance, like you are just employed and you earn salary and nothing else, chances are that you'll be very, very constrained financially. I'm not saying you will, because in the next slide I'll be telling you something we call smart working, working smart. Working smart is where you do one thing, but you excel to an extent that you make a lot of money. But my observation and the principle is that if you are just earning, you have one line of income. If your line of income is farming, and farming alone, what happens if you are using rain-fed agriculture and the rain doesn't rain? What happens? You are done. If you are in business, depending on what kind of business, I want you to reflect back and look at the corona time. A lot of businesses closed. What happened? You have nothing to earn income. If you have only employment, and many people suffered because many companies closed down and they sent people home during that period, you are likely to suffer because you have no income. Sports, it has its own disadvantage. Sports is only short-lived. Today, you are Omanyala. How many years did Omanyala win 100 meters? It's 1 year, and that's gone. It's over. Because the energy, and then the other people are upcoming. So in 1-2 years, the maximum you can go could be 5 years in sports, and that career is gone. So if you are relying on sports, it means you are going to earn income for a period of between 1 and 5 or maximum 7 years if you are a marathoner. preaching, what happens? We've read a lot of this in the papers. These disagreements, and this is common because even if you read the Church of Corinth, there are divisions in the church. When those divisions come, you say, I belong to Paul, I belong to Apollos, I belong to Peter, I belong to Christ. And there are divisions in the church, and your main source of income is only that. What happens? The believers leave you and you are done. So what the message is that singing is the same thing. The message is that out of all this, and the biggest of it is business, because business, we can break it into many. We have businesses like our advocate here, Wakili, that is a business. We have others who are in business. Even farming can be called business, although it's not really business. It's a form of income earning venture. We have others running restaurants. We have others selling cars. We have others running schools. Business is the widest. So I don't want to labor that, but if you find yourself that out of all this list, your only source of income is one, chances are that at the end of the day, you will be very constrained. So I want to invite all of you as we move from that point one, that you have a meeting with yourself and ask yourself, what else can I do over and above what I am doing? If I am employed, can I do something else? One or two that will bring in more income. We call it passive income. And if I am in a consultancy, can I do something else? Can I do some other form of business? Can I do farming? And if I am in farming, like our friend in Degwa here, who is a avocado farmer, he may have to think of, can I run another type of business, an underwear business, construction material selling business? There are so many opportunities. But the principle is that if you have only one source of income, if you have only one line of income, believe me not, your chances of constraining financially are very, very high. I'm not saying you'll be constrained, but the chances are very, very high. And even when we come to investment, you will be able to see it clearly because of what we call diversification. We'll be able to see that when we come to investments. Okay? So, gentlemen, we need to master that principle. If today, going forward, you've been expecting income from one source, please think twice. Let's move to the next slide, please. The next slide, we are still talking about income, earning income and creating wealth. The question we're asking ourselves is, today you are employed and you're earning 100,000, or today you are doing farming and your net profit is 500,000, or today you are practicing law, you are practicing medicine, you are practicing accounting, and your income is, let's say, 1 million shillings per year. What can you do to earn more than that? Is there anyone who has an idea? I think the font is an advantage. Many of you cannot read that, so you cannot see my answer. What else can you do? Anyone? How can you multiply your income? Because if you live on one income year in, year out, definitely you'll be constrained. Why? There's an animal called inflation. Last year you were buying unga at 100 shillings, today you are buying at 120. You are buying fuel at this price, today you are buying it at a higher price. So what will happen? If your income doesn't increase, then you are done. It means you are constrained. Yes, Musu.
Can you save part of your income and invest it to earn you extra finance?
Yeah, that's a suggestion. You can invest to That means you do more than what you are doing. If you have been in farming, for example, if you are in farming, then you can have a business. That is what he's saying. If you are employed, you can do a bit of farming. If you are talented in singing, then you can also do a bit of singing. So you have more than one streams of income. That is true. That is one way, and I agree with him. So one way you can multiply your income and get it from me, there are two ways. One of them is that you can venture into different streams of income earning ventures. I mean, you go to different types of income earning. If you have been doing farming, you can try business. If you are in employment, you can try business, you can try farming. You need to diversify your streams of income. This time is not investment, it's the streams. Where do you get money from? Do you get it from only one source? No. So that way, you can multiply the money that you are earning by just getting to different ventures. The second one, is there another way you can do that? Suppose you are constrained, you are a medical doctor, you are or a lawyer like our friend here. What will happen? Are you going to, and you still want to stick to that business? How can you multiply your money or the income you're earning? Anyone else? How can you multiply? I said this is a discussion. When you have handout people, the best thing is through discussion. It's not me talking. Yes? Kitonga? That is investing. Yeah, that is what you have covered. You go into different businesses. Suppose you are in a business like medicine where you are just practicing medicine. How can you multiply your income? Because if you don't do something, if in a year you have been making $1 million shillings after your expenses, and you do absolutely nothing, you continue making $1 million shillings. So I'm asking, how do you multiply in such a case? Our chairman is saying you enhance the skills through training. Still not yet. What else? So I think my font size is really serving me well because you couldn't see the answer. The answer is what we call working smart. Working smart means that whatever you are doing, you endeavor to do it better. If, for example, our chairman has been serving clients, I'm sure he knows something can do better to attract more clients, to attract more money. So there is working hard and working smart. Working hard, you diversify your streams of income. Working smart, you actually do better. You enhance the services. Whatever you are doing, even if you are farming, there are so many new technologies, innovations you can adopt to multiply. Maybe you've been harvesting 100 bags every year. You can increase that production to 200 bags through innovative methods of farming. So it is working smart. You are on one line, and that is why I said in the beginning, it is may. When you have one, you may. But in this case, if you are smart, you can still survive on one line, but still multiply your income and still live very well. So I think you've gotten the point. Working hard, you diversify your streams of income. Working smart, whatever you are doing, you do it better. Come out with innovative ways. If you have been in a restaurant where you are serving 100,000 customers in your year, can you improve your quality, your standards, so that you can serve 200 customers, 200,000, 20,000 customers in a year? By improving the quality of your services, you're able to earn more money. And that's the secret of earning income. So the question, the 2 points you need to monitor, to note is that to earn income, you must work. It is God who said that you get something to your mouth, you have to sweat, you have to work. So love work and work hard And number two, you need to increase that income so that as inflation bites, as the cost of living goes up, you are cushioned against that, okay? Thank you. So, and lastly, on that step one, earning income, you need to track your income and monitor. You need to capture that project. At the beginning of the year, sorry I didn't say this, at the beginning of the year, it is important to do what you call an annual plan. And in that plan, what you call the New Year's resolution, I know many of you may not do that, but you can do it. You can plan what you need to do in a year. And among those things is these sources of income. You are going to enhance your sources of income. So you need to project. So that thing you see with the stars there, which you can't read, fortunately, is talking about the salary that you are going to earn in January, February, up to December. It's talking about the business income that you are going to earn from January, February, up to December. It's talking about maybe the singing money you are going to earn from January up to December. So just using a piece of paper, it doesn't have to be a computer. It can be even a piece of paper. You can be able to tabulate your income. I'll be telling you why. You'll be able to see in January, I expect to earn my salary. You know your salary, net salary is so much. From business, you can estimate if you are running a restaurant, if you are farming, it may not come in 1 month. It may be once or twice in a year when you expect income. So the months you are not earning, it will be 0 until March. You get a big bang from your farming, several millions. You go again up to December, you need to tabulate that so that at the end of the month, you're able to know how much you are earning, what is your income. Okay? Are we in agreement? So I will be revisiting that later to tell you why you need to do that. You need to know how much you are earning. So after that, we go to step two. Step two, please. Step two is about savings and maintaining wealth. Savings. The question you're asking ourselves is, forget about the slides, you still read them on your phone. The question you're asking ourselves is, you have earned so much money from step one. How can I ensure that you have money all the time? And I asked that question. How many people here, from date 1 to the last date of the month, from January to December, any day, you call them and ask them, they tell you they have money in their pocket. You know, that's what the politicians use. That is actually where that phrase comes from, having money in your pocket. Do you have money? I'm not a stranger in that respect because I also used to work like most of you here, the Gen Zs. And I'll earn my salary on 30th of the month, and 2 days, gone. Is that the experience? Huh? And so how do I survive the rest of the days in the month? I have earned my salary on that day. 2 days, 3 days later, I have nothing. Until I discovered the secret of financial management and that financial independence. I want you to look at it like this one, in a very crude way. In a very crude way, as I introduce that step 2 of savings. Suppose, let me see. I think this one we have covered. That circle represents our plate. and it's a plate of the income. I want to be very simple so that you can get the concept. That plate, money comes from, it is food now. Money comes from, we said from salary, we said from farming, from any type of business, from singing, and it is that size, this is the money, it is in that plate. That money is in that plate. It is coming to that plate. And you need to eat that plate. What happens when I tell you of a situation where I get my salary? I only have salary as my source of income. So those are the three portions I don't have. So if I don't plan well on that salary, what will happen is that I'll eat it in 2 days, 3 days, and I'll have nothing. So how will I survive the remaining days? I have to borrow. And we are going to come to that towards the end. A lot of us are slaves of debt. And actually that freedom is talking of how we can come out of that slavery. That financial freedom is actually being free from debt. So in terms of maintaining the wealth, you need to track that income. You need to track your expenses, what you are going to pay. And you need to track to make sure that those expenses are actually equal to what you're earning. If you don't, then you're in problems. Okay? So there are 2 types of expenses you have to capture. One of them is mandatory, what you have to pay every month. And number 2, it is, you can call it other expenses. So can we hear what this is now the most exciting part, because why you don't have money after day 4 of your salary is because you have actually taken, you have withdrawn everything. You have not planned how you are going to spend your money. Because and you planned, if I had planned, I'll be able to eat from all those portions. If I have 4 of them or 1 of them, I'll be able to take whatever now we are going to discuss. From there up to the end of the month, and I may even have something remaining. Let's see. I know now it becomes difficult. What are the mandatory payments? What is it you have to pay? I'll give you an example. Like if I'm staying in a house, say I have to pay house rent. Sindio? Otherwise the landlord will come and kick me out, other than for the grace that we land in the morning. But you come, if I overstay, you definitely come and close my house and throw me out. So that's something that you must budget for or plan for. What else? I've given you a hint. Water and electricity. Otherwise, you have no water. The shower Musao was talking about will not be available. Electricity will be staying in darkness. What else? So we've seen food. Huh? We've seen, so you are drawing, now it is you now, unaweka mkono yako sasa hapa, ndani, unachota kutoka kwa hiyo plate, and you are taking food. I don't even know whether food is mandatory because it runs throughout the month. You have rent. What else? Electricity and water. Electricity and water. What else? What else? Yes? Huh? What? School fees. School fees. I'm talking of what is mandatory. Is school fees mandatory? School fees. What else? Transport. What else? Telephone. Is telephone a necessity? Gosh. What else? Huh? Tithing. Wow. You said tithing. Let me put it on top there and surround it. What else? Pardon? Medicine. Wow. I even plan for medicine. So are you exhausted? So what are we saying? We are saying that out of that plate, you have to draw your hands and pick something from that plate. Now, my question is, suppose all this, whatever you allocate for all this, is equal to what is inside that plate. What will happen? If it is equal, no, you are not saying it's equal. What you are drawing out of, ile chakula imewekwa kwa hiyo sahani, inatoshana na ile mahitaji. Kwa sababu unachukua ya fish, unachukua ya hii, na inatoshana. What will happen? At the end of the month, you have 0, but at least you are able to stay afloat. But I can assure you, in this group, maybe none of us is able even to achieve that 0. That balancing of what is in the plate and what you are drawing. And that is where the problems start. And if it is more, what you are drawing is more than what you are in the plate, you borrow. Haya, shida imeanza sasa. You borrow. And if it is more than what you are drawing is less than what is in the plate, something remains, isn't it? So now I wanted to use this crude example to explain that concept of the saving and maintaining your wealth and ensuring that you always have money. So if you want to have money always, every day, every minute, you have 2 scenarios where what you are drawing is either equal to what is in the plate. I've used that. I wanted to make it so simple. What is in that plate, what you are drawing, is equivalent to what is in that plate. That way you are in a saver. You are able to stay afloat. And the second option is what you are drawing is less than what is in that plate. So there is something that will remain in the plate. And those are the 2 ideal situations. But the best situation, best option, is where you are drawing less and something remains in the plate. Because as you go to the third step of investment, you find that you'll be able, actually not even investment, you'll be able to save something out of it and invest. So that is what you have come out with. So let me share you the financial principles behind this. I thank Lawrence because he was able to pick one thing that majority of us miss out. In Malachi 3:10, God invites us to test him by giving our tithes. And then there's a promise to that. Anyone who reads the Bible, I'm sure you know what follows after that. I don't want to ask Reform because it is, he knows it. Test God and then what follows? You see what? Anybody? Utete? What will do? What is he going to do? He has said it there. You bless you until there is what? There is nowhere to store. Is it? So, I went for a seminar many years back. I was lucky. And one of the presenters actually was presenting this. And then when he was doing the mandatory payments, his first item was tithing. Malachi 3:10. And everybody said, what? And he really convinced and I told us, try it. And me, I can give a testimony. I can give a testimony that from that day, life has never been the same. I'm not pitching for anybody, but I'm actually saying from the bottom of my heart, from that day, my life has never been the same. Because that tithing, you've seen the promise that is given there. And besides, there's another hidden thing of the protection. When we get our money, the Bible says, you put it in your pocket and what happens? Yo mfuko imetoboka. Si ndio? Unaingiza inatoka. I'm sure all of you know what that means. It's figurative. It is not hii mfuko yangu niko nayo, eti nikiweka hii kalamu ama pesa inaanguka inapotea, hapana. What it means is that these things that we are drawing from that plate, some of them that even you are not planned for come. Unapata mshahara, and I actually can say that testimony. Ikuwa napata mshahara, just this, it's like those needs were, ni kama hizo vitu zilikuwa zinaniangalia from I don't know where. Napata mshahara, napata simu, mtu fulani amekuwa mgonjwa. And I have no choice. I have to give money to go and take that person to hospital. Mtoto fulani, na si wangu, amefukuzwa shule. Sometimes it became even so weird. Nimepata hiyo mshahara, your brother has been arrested. Ako police station, anataka cash. Now what is this now? Hiyo mfuko naweka pesa inafanya nini? So there are two things in this tithing, gentlemen, and I want you to take it seriously. Is that there is a promise of blessings until you have nowhere to keep. And number two, there is that protection of your wealth by God. You will be able to see that. So, and you doing the mandatory payments as you see from your notes, can you ensure that tithing is your number one so that you can test God? Tithing. And even if when in my notes, when I go to the next slide, you'll be able to see it is top of the saving. It is number one on top. So that you get test God and you do that. And I can give testimonies and testimonies and testimonies about that, including, I discussed with my colleagues here, farming. They're always asking me, how come your place you're always harvesting and you're harvesting tens or hundreds of bags from Ukambani? I tell them there is nothing I do. I don't practice any technology. It's just those blessings. You just plant like anybody else. They're harvesting 10 bags, you find you're harvesting 90. So there's nothing I have done special. And it is, gentlemen, it is to let's test God. In fact, I think that is the only verse in the Bible where God is inviting us to test him. And remember, we say the word God says remains truth and it's timeless. So even in that Malachi 3:10, it is still timeless. Let me not labor on that. The principle I want you to pick from here before I go to the next slide, the principle I want to pick from here is that you do not spend more than you earn. That is the principle, the financial principle. Do not spend more than you earn. So if what you are removing from the plate is more than what is in the plate, I think I've used a very good example, although it is a very crude one of eating, but today we started with that eating. So if what you are drawing from the plate is more than what is in the plate, you are asking for trouble. And let me assure you, will be seeing it in I think in Proverbs. Actually, it is there. It's in Proverbs. Proverbs 22:7. Proverbs 22:7. When you borrow, you became a slave of your lender. Proverbs 22:7. So if you borrow, you become a slave. And we are talking of financial freedom. Freedom from that slavery. So when you have drawn more than what is in the plate, you cannot survive, you have to borrow. And I can tell you, I know people who have suffered from debts from day one up to the time they went to the grave, simply because of this mistake. You're earning money, you have good money, but you are spending more than you are earning. You are calling for problems. And that is where one of the principles that we have to take home today. It is their financial principle: do not spend more than you are eating, more than you are earning, unless you borrow to invest in long-term investments, like you are buying a house, buying a car, buying a plot. That time you can overspend because that's a long-term investment and eventually to earn you something in terms of capital gains. Okay? So let's go to the next slide, please. So in terms of savings, and another principle I want to pick you to pick here, in terms of savings, you do not save what remains after you have spent. What will happen if what you have removed from the plate is more than what is in the plate? You save nothing, isn't it? Or if what you are removing from the plate is equal to what was in the plate, you still save nothing. So the only time you have an opportunity, which is also not guaranteed, is when you draw less than what is in the plate, meaning that there's something that will remain in the plate and you can save that. But it is so little. I will not advise you to go that way. When you are doing your budgeting, of expenses, what you are going to pay, can you please factor savings, how much you want to save? Just as you put your tithing, just as you put your school fees, just as you put house rent, just as you put your telephone expense, and you deliberately plan that I'm going to save 5,000 every month. Some of you may be doing it unknowingly. If you are a member of a circle, see, there are shares that you pay every month. So don't pity yourself. You're actually saving. And at what point do you save? You don't save after. The circle deducts, if you are employed, the circle deducts your shares before you even get the money. That is the same principle you should follow if you want to save. If you are not employed, if you are in your own business, or if you are in farming or whatever, make it, or you are like a senior citizen like myself, make it deliberate that in your plan, you plan to save so much on a monthly basis. Do not save what remains. You will fail. Okay? And what you say, what remains, what I can advise you to save after what you spend is something we call emergency fund. If you have some money remaining after you have spent, you can use it to put up what we call an emergency fund. Emergency fund such that if something comes out of what you have planned and you have to cater for it, you do not still again borrow. You can go to that emergency account and draw the money from there. I'll be taking you through how you can invest in that emergency fund. But one thing, gentlemen, up to where we have reached, and I want to stress on this, financial discipline is key. Financial discipline is very key. Without the discipline, what we are talking cannot be achieved. And even another concept is what we call contentment, what we learned in the morning. Being contented with what you have. We spend most of our time chasing what we don't have. But God has blessed us with a lot of things. So you stress yourself, you put pressure on yourself, running around, yet God has blessed. Contentment doesn't mean that you have to be complacent. It doesn't mean that you have to sit idle and just and do nothing. No. It means that You have to be satisfied with what you have, and that way you'll be having a peace of mind and you can achieve a lot. Okay? So there is an emergency fund I'll be talking to you about, showing you how you can invest in that. It doesn't matter. You can be putting 1,000 shillings, 5,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings. And at the end of the year, you find yourself, you have like 600, 500, 1 million. If today you have set aside 1 million or 500 or 200, depending on your expenses, somewhere in account, a money market account, for example, it means that you don't have to borrow. Something comes up unexpected, you just give your instructions, it takes 1 or 2 days, the money is out, and you're able to sort yourself. But without discipline, you cannot even manage that emergency account. Because every time you feel nimeishiwa, nimesota, na niko na pesa kwa hii emergency account, you go there and withdraw. No, you can't run it that way. Discipline is very key in this respect. Okay? So the paradox I was telling you in life, or the mystery of life, is that no matter how much money you earn, you always spend it. And I think I started by giving you that. Hiyo vile wahenga walisema maskini akipata matako waliyabata. So don't say that I will start saving when I get a lot of money. Never. Sometimes I listen to the people in the TV, those who win what Mutete was talking about, gambling and those charity things. Mtu amepata shilingi 100, 1,100 ama 500, or even 1 million, some of them win. And then the guy says, what are you going to spend this money on? I'm going to pay school fees, I'm going to build a house, I'm going to finish, to start a business. I can guarantee you, if you follow that person, nothing like that happens. Nothing will happen like that. Don't tell me you didn't have money and today you win 1 million. You've been wearing torn shoes. You've been sleeping on a torn mattress. You've been, no. So the next thing you say, I buy a good shoe, I buy a good shirt, I replace my mattress, my bed is cracking, I go and buy. Hey, there is nothing like, even that school fees, you may not even pay it. It's nothing like I will start a business. It will never happen. So that paradox of money is that if you are, no matter how much you earn, you can always spend all of it. So without financial discipline, you'll be a victim of that paradox. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I'm almost finishing step 2. Step 2, I talked of, just don't worry about the slides. People will read from the presentation. I said it's a blessing in disguise. I cannot read what is there. So, in your expenses, you have to track them just as you tracked the income. So, since me, I'm blessed with good eyesight, I can read what is there from here. I can read for you. The first category is mandatory, and number 1 item is tithe. Malachi 3:10. From today, please make sure you put. And I know many people fear tithing because they say they are going to lie to God. I don't know. I may be wrong or right. Therefore, we'll have to correct that later. You say if you don't pay 10%. Suppose you have a multiple source of income. I have salary, I have farming, I have business. Those amounts of money do not come at the same time. They don't come at the same time that you are going to calculate the 10%, no. In my view, I may be right or wrong, the tithing is what you give, faithfully from your heart. And from the accountant point of view, there's a principle we call consistency. So if you agree I'll be tithing 10,000 every month, you tithe that faithfully and consistently. It's not that you tithe January and the next time you're tithing is December. Why? You're not faithful in your tithing. So it's that consistency and tithing. Because, and if you have now that fluctuation of income, it may not be easy to always calculate how much is the 10%. You can give that as a way of thanksgiving. Whatever comes in as a bonus, whatever, you can give as thanksgiving. But you set aside a fixed amount that you can be giving as tithing, and the rest, there are so many things you can do in the ministry, including, but you also have the thanksgiving you can give whenever that money comes through. So don't say that you cannot tithe because you don't want to lie. I don't know the 10%. No, let's try to give that faithfully. And whatever comes over and above our 10%, what is regular, you can give as a thanksgiving. So that's number one. Number two, you have your savings. Interesting. Tithing, savings. You have to allocate what you're going to save before you even do anything else. Then number three, you can do your investment. Number four, you can do what you want to enjoy. We'll be seeing step number 5. What is it you're going, at the end of the year, what are you going to entertain? I mean, take your family for holiday. Or what are you going to treat yourself? After working hard, you need to thank yourself. So if you are not factored it, where will you get the money for? So the discipline is that there are things that you want to do that are mandatory. You have the tithing, you have the savings, you have the investment, you have the entertainment, and then the rest can follow. Imagine in my presentation, things like school fees, things like food, things like authors, telephone, they are coming and other payments. They are not mandatory. They are not mandatory. Because you can spread them, even the school fees, you don't pay the school fees at a lump sum. You talk to mwalimu, and the grace will land in the morning. The mwalimu will let your kids stay in school. You pay 30%. Next month you pay 40%. And then you clear before the term ends. So that is really not something you can say it's mandatory. You can spread it over. The food, you can change your diet. You do this, that, and so it's not. So when you see in my notes, you find that it is not there. But what am I driving at? So after tracking these expenses, mandatory, what you must pay, and other payments, at the end of the month, what do you get? That is why I said you needed the other one of income. If your income was 50,000, and this one comes to 70,000, there is a terminology used. We say you are in red. Have you ever heard of that? You are in red, meaning what you earn is more than what you are spending. And believe me, if that is your way, your lifestyle, whatever is above what you are earning, it is a debt. It is either you have borrowed a friend, you have borrowed the circle, you have borrowed the bank, you have borrowed from wherever, it is a debt. Because there is no way you can spend what you don't have. That one, it's impossible. So if you are spending more, you must be having it. And if it is more than you're earning, then you must be borrowing. So why I tabulated this and you see in your notes is that this is just not exhaustive. It's just illustration. So please, as you leave this training or as you approach new next year, can you make that discipline? Project your income, whether it is one line, but remember we said one line is risky, but if it is one line, project it, see how much will be coming in, and then come to expenses, remember the tithing is on top, and then do the rest, and see what is the total. If what you are taking from the plate is more than what is in the plate, you are in danger, you are in dread. So make sure that always you spend less than you earn. That is the principle I want you to take home. If you don't take anything else, ensure you spend less than what you, otherwise you'll be forced to borrow for you to survive. Okay, let's move on. I'll do the third one, then you take a short break. I'll do this third one, then you take a short break, because the rest are not heavy as these 3 steps. The third step is investment. Investment is about growing your wealth. Increasing your wealth, increasing what you have. Increasing or growing what you have. When now you have earned money and you have spent it, are you growing your wealth, or your wealth, so that tomorrow, when you have no energy to work, let me use myself, when you're in my state now, senior citizen, Me, I don't work. When I wake up in the morning, the principle is that I wake up when the principle we were told when we were leaving employment is that you wake up when the sleep, niweke tu kwa direct translation. Yaani usingizi kisha ndio unaamka. Kama inaisha saa 10 ya usiku unaamka. Kama inaisha saa 12 unaamka. Kama inaisha saa 5 ya mchana unaamka saa hiyo. So me, I don't go to work. So what will I eat? What will I be eating? It is a time for me now, and I know many of you don't believe it, that money should, at this stage, money should be working for you. And I've been demonstrating that. You worked for money when you are young or energetic, but when you get old, then the money now should work for you. Are you getting that concept? So I should wake up. I wish Musufa had taught me how to play golf. Then after waking at 11, I would go and play golf. And my money is working somewhere for me. You don't know. You see? So I wake up at 11 and money is working for me. So I just go playing golf, take my fruits, take my breakfast, walk around. That is the induced state of life. But what will make you get to that state of life? It is growing your wealth. And that is an investment. It's the most difficult part of this financial freedom. Many people don't invest. And they don't invest because of various reasons. One of them is that planning. Because when you say, I will invest what remains, suppose nothing remains, then you work for the rest of your life, you do business for the rest of your life, and you never invest. So it has to be a deliberate effort and deliberate plan. That's why I said you have to put that investment portion in your plan as a mandatory spending. Say this month I'll be investing 5,000 in my cooperative shares. I'll be investing so much in this. I'll be investing so much in this. And then at one time you borrow that money from cooperative house. You buy your own house, or you build a rental house. So when money now is working for you is when you are seated down, and then rent is coming to your account because you bought a house when you are strong and you have a tenant there. That's just an illustration. There are so many ways of money working for you, but that is what it means. So you need to work to invest when you're energetic. And the purpose of investing so that in the future, you have something to depend on. I know many people say we invest so that we can give inheritance to our children. Never, 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 never. I give people this example. These children you are saying inherit. Did you inherit anything from? Maybe there are a few of you inherited something from your father, your parents, but the majority of us never. But you are able to live, and you have lived this far. What it means that when you are born, God blesses you. Kikamba tunasema direct translation. Kila mtoto akikuja, anakujanga na Sahani yake. You see? So why are you saying you're investing to give your children inheritance? Actually, before I left my previous life, I had two of my sons, very strange happening. Second born and third born. Imagine I've worked for 35 years, and then ni watoto wangu wamezaliwa, and by the time I was leaving employment, they were earning more than me. Are you saying these are the people I'm saving? Eh? I'm saving so that I can. I think you're not serious. So you actually invest so that in your future life, if God blesses you with a long life, you're able to live comfortably. You're able to, money is able to work for you. So having said that, what are these principles of what lesson do we take about investment? One of them is that there's a very key principle there. Is called diversification. We laymen, I'm sure you have heard this saying that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And there was a financial guru known as Makowizi. I said I will not go that way. I said I will not go that way. I was going now to discuss the theory of diversification. Makowizi, theory of diversification, but sorry, let me not go that way because it will make life difficult. But he won a Nobel Prize out of that theory, where he was able to come up with what you call an efficient set, the way you can combine asset classes to reap maximum returns. And he won a Nobel Prize for that, but let me not go that way. It's a very complicated thing. Let me go back to the divine book. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, if I'm not wrong, verse 2. It talks about diversification. That's why I told you, even this Bible is really rich in knowledge. Ecclesiastes 11:2, it tells you to put your investments in 7 or 8, areas. Weka, hapa, pale. Why? Because you never know what will happen. One area might go down, then you're able to reap from another one. Another area may go down, and then you reap from another. That's biblical. That's what the Bible says. Ecclesiastes 11:2, diversification. So God is telling us, let us put our investments in different areas, and that is diversification. It is not different from the Markowitz theory I was about to get into. Actually, it is exactly a reflection of what Markowitz, maybe he actually took it from there, you never know, because the principle is the same. So as you invest, you need to diversify. You cannot invest in one area. And I think I explained this when I was talking about the different streams of income. When I said you cannot live on one stream of income, equally, you cannot make money out of investment if you are only investing in one area, unless you invest, again, smartly. Invest smartly, which is not really advisable, because when it comes to investments, there are risks that are inherent in every field of business. So in this investment, there are so many avenues that you can invest in. And the principle is, the higher the return, the higher the risk, the higher the return. The higher the risk, the higher the return. So as you delve into these investment ventures, it all depends upon what we call risk appetite. That sounds a bit strange, but risk is just like food. How much can you take? How much risk can you eat? Let me put it in a layman's language like that. How much risk can you eat? Can you take? Naturally, we are all different. There are people. I remember one time we were buying a plot in Mulolongo many days back. My association, a chama. And then what was the document available then was, it was not Molonga, it was Shokemau. The document available then was a certificate of allocation. And we were 10 of us. And that is actually, it gives me a very good glance of what risk appetite is. So we discussed, and out of 10 of us, me and another colleague, only 2 of us said that we can go ahead. But the others said, no way. We cannot risk our money just to buy a plot there. Those early days, in fact, I remember they were going at 50,000 or so. Huh? And they said we can't buy. Because how? Certificate? No. This thing will just be taken and we have put our money there. So we even undertook and even put it in writing, the 2 of us. We said we undertake that in the event of anything happening, then they will be held responsible, the 2 of us, because we saw it was the right way to go. Now I'm demonstrating what risk appetite. Majority of us here, they are not risk takers. We bought that plot, and 20 years later, in between we were able to get a title deed, and since it belonged to a chama, we did not build, we eventually sold it. And if I tell you from 50,000 to 80 million, you can't imagine. Everyone was excited and said, how come you told us to buy? And we refused completely. Suppose we refused to buy. Now we'll be regretting. That's how risk is. I'm not telling you to be a risk taker, but risk, what I'm saying is that risk appetite depends on, varies from individual to individual. So depending on your risk appetite, then you can invest in any form of business, okay? That is the principle. And the higher the risk, the higher the return. So if you can take more risk and live with it, you are likely to make more money than somebody who is conservative, somebody who is not a risk taker. So that is one of the basic principles of investment. I will tell you, we talked about businesses. Many of you may have tried. There's one business which is very lucrative. One of them is actually what Mutete was talking about, gambling. I don't support that 100%. You gamble, you can lose all your money, and one day you can win a jackpot and become a multi-millionaire. Hey, a risk taker, but that one is not in my realm of business. The one I'm thinking of is Shylock. Has anyone, I'm sure one of, I know you cannot disclose, one of you may have tried that. That's a very lucrative business in terms of the returns. Can you imagine, I give you 100,000 shillings, and the rate is 30% per month. So if you have to pay back 100,000, you pay me 130. Am I talking something you've never heard? 30%, 20%. So it's very lucrative. But what happens if the customer doesn't pay? You cannot go to Akili. What will you go and tell him? Eh? So I'm just trying to drive home the subject of risk appetite. So that risk appetite, depending on how much you can take, then you can invest in any form of business. But if you have studied finance, you can get it on your own way. If you have not, then you need somebody to support you because you can burn your fingers easily. So let's move to the next slide, please. So in terms of investing, there are so many available options. One of them is the widest is general business. Business is the widest form of investment. You can invest in mama mboga, that's kuuza mboga. You can invest in a shop, you can invest in hardware, you can invest in consultancy, you can invest in legal practice, you can invest in medical practice, you can invest in accountancy, you can invest in so many depending on your area of specialization or your interest. But the guiding principle is the risk. And number two, you need to understand the knowledge. You need to have knowledge of that business field you are venturing in. For example, I cannot go, and Dan can easily go into coffee business. Me, I can't, because I don't understand anything about coffee. So you need to understand the business you are going into. You need to understand the risks. You need to understand the returns. You need, over and above, you need to have some element of financial literacy, such that you're able to keep record of your income, keep record of your expenses. And that is where many of small businesses fail. You go into a business and you don't know what you are doing. Because if you are not monitoring your income, your revenue, if you are not monitoring your expenses, well, nakaa tu nakula pesa. So you don't know whether you are eating the capital, ama nakula profit, ama nakula loss. So business, I would say, master the business. Make sure you understand the environment, the business itself. Have some bit of financial literacy. You can keep basic books of record. You're able to keep your revenue. You're able to keep your expenses, track your expenses. And then monitor the risk. Let it be within your risk appetite. So that is one form of business. The second form of business is shares. You can invest in shares in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. So in my presentation towards the end, I've given you a list of stock brokers. For this one, you have to open a CDS account with one of the stock brokers at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. And then from that day, you can start trading. But one thing I can guarantee you, stock exchange, no one can predict the market. That is the basic principle. You cannot predict what direction the market is going to take. So no one can tell you, buy this, you'll be guaranteed of making money. But when you invest, and invest wisely, there you're able to get dividend from the shares. And in addition, when the prices move up, you're able to make some capital gains. That's the benefit you get. Now, diversification means that you need to have those shares. You need to have a business. I want you to get me clearly. You need to be into many investments so that what happens, as we saw in Ecclesiastes 11:2, whatever happens, you can get something from one line which is not affected, okay? So that is the essence of diversification. So shares, you see the list of stockbrokers open, and you can buy an amount of shares. You can buy 10 shares, you can buy 100, you can buy 50, depending on what counter you want to buy. And it's good that at least you have some portfolio, some bit of investment in that. Because sometimes the market moves, you can make a lot of money. I remember one day I had some Kenya Airways shares before they were suspended. I think I bought them at 60 cents. And with one time, I don't know what happened, they moved to 3 shillings and 40 cents, where they stopped. Actually, I sold them just before they were suspended. You can imagine it, from 60 cents to 3 shillings and 40 cents, and I'm holding 100,000 shares. How much money? And I made that money in one day. In one day. You can calculate that 2.4, is it 2.24? 2 shillings and 40 cents times 100,000, that's 240. Just waking up in the morning, and in the evening I'm 240,000 rich. That's not little money. And it happens. So just have a small portfolio in shares. I've given you the brokers. You can choose a broker of your choice. May I use a Sterling Capital? I'm not saying they are the best, But the ones I started with many years back, and I've stuck to them. So you'll be able to buy and sell shares and get dividends from your account. Another area of diversification is government securities. This is where now I was telling you money can work for you. Government securities are rated zero risk, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. But me, I live by faith because I have a very big junk in that. I live by faith. I'm not fearing. It is not that easy for government to default. But I know people are talking at one time it will happen. But how many countries have defaulted in history? You can count them. Very few. It is not a good thing for government to default. So that's why their bonds, their securities are rated so highly. And even their returns are usually low because of the low risk. Remember, the higher the risk, the lower the risks, the lower the returns. So the government securities are usually have lower rates, but they are safe to keep your money. And to invest in government securities, which is the treasury bonds and treasury bills. Treasury bonds are for a longer term. Treasury bills are for 90, 180 days, and 360, that's 1 year days. Those are the treasury bills. Treasury bonds go for a number of years. And even we have a variant of those treasury bills currently. There's one called Infrastructure Board, the IFB. That one, you get the returns without any tax. The others are subject to withholding tax of 5%. But for infrastructure bond, you get your income free, tax-free. So if it is 15%, 16%, you get your 16% return. And for your information, when I was saying money works for you, personally, that's where I put a lot of my money. And when I'm seated, I just see a big chunk of money going into my account as a form of interest. So I don't have to, I did not have to go and manage or do anything, manage business, check whether matatus, how they're operating, what. No, just seated, and after 6 months, you see a very huge credit in my account. That is government securities. To invest in government securities, you just need to open a THOW, is DHOW, CDS account with the Central Bank of Kenya. Central Bank of Kenya is a debt agent of the government of Kenya. So you can do it online, especially the Gen Zs. But for the old men, if you have challenges, you can just walk to the banking hall in Central Bank. They'll assist you. They'll take you through. They can even open for you. It doesn't take long. They open for you. Then you can start investing. The minimum you invest is 50,000. Wachana na ile ingine ya digital, but the other one is 50,000 and above. You can invest. And then you sit down and see the money work for you. Okay? So that's the third form of in diversification. We have talked about business. We have talked about shares. We've talked about government securities. The fourth one is a money market. Money market, this is good for what I told you about emergency fund. The fund that you want to keep aside in case of emergency. So instead of keeping your money in the bank where it is earning zero, you keep it somewhere where it is earning something. But when you need it, you get it within a day or two. That is called the money market. I've also shared with you a list of companies that are in that money market in appendix, either 1 or 2. You get it in my presentation. So all you need to do is visit one of those companies, open a money market account, and start investing. That one you can do from 1,000 shillings. Ukibakisha 12 moja unaweka hapo. And believe me, that money you think it is little, over time, you find you have enough funds that can cushion you against any emergency. Some of our emergencies are not that big. You may find you need 20,000 and you don't have. So you have to borrow. But if you have had an emergency fund with 100,000, you can get your 20,000. But make sure, out of that financial discipline, you replace that 20,000 and even add more, so that tomorrow, when you have an emergency, you are cushioned against that, okay? So that one I've also shared with you, the companies that deal with the money market. You just visit them online, or you can call them, and then you can open a money market account and have an emergency account, which will be earning you something. It definitely earns you more than inflation rate. So you are growing your wealth. What I didn't mention is that if you actually find yourself investment is earning less than inflation rate, then you are not growing your wealth. You're actually eroding. You're actually eroding your wealth, because it means your money is actually being eroded. You are not making any wealth. Okay? Where is it? Press. Yes. Then the last one, because there are very many options available, is a fixed deposit account. This one, I'm sure many of you have heard about it. You visit a bank account. You visit a bank and open a bank account. They all have different terms. Some of them, they tell you to keep the money for 3 months, 6 months, then give you an interest. And so depending on your bank of choice, you can just visit and put money in. This is where you have money that you are not spending in the short term. You want it to earn you something before you put it where you want. Maybe you are buying a plot or a piece of land, and the due process is not over, and you get your money earlier than the time you are supposed to pay. Instead of keeping it in your pocket or in your bank account earning zero, you can put it there. The idea is that you need to grow the money that you have. You need to increase. And if you don't increase it, then you have a challenge in coming years. That is the principle. Okay, next slide. As I wind up, then we take a short break. So as I said, when I talked about savings, investment should also be deliberate. You should budget for it as a mandatory spending. You don't invest what remains. Actually, that's a mistake majority of us may say. And even when we are talking here, I could hear somebody saying, whatever remains, I can invest. Never. You fail. Plan and factor in your plan, in your budget, what you want to invest. Don't say, I'll invest the balance. If you remember the paradox, it is likely that whatever you get, you spend all of it. So that spending, can it include your investment? That is the safest way to do it. Put your investment as part of your spending. Don't say, I'll invest of what remains after spending. That's a mistake many people make. I'll invest what remains. I'll save what remains. Never. Make it and deliberate. Make it in your plan. Include it in your plan. So investment is the same way. Make sure that you include it there. And the basic rule, as I wind up, is that I think I had already mentioned it. Our current inflation as of September is 3.6% in Kenya. 3.6% in Kenya. It is so surprising. There's a lot of political noise. The climate is so disturbing, but seems economic-wise, we are doing well. I don't know who can explain that paradox. I'm not an economist, but it's surprising. Economy is 3.6% inflation. It could be one of the best in the continent. And then even the strength of our Kenyan currency at 129, 130, 120 there is also surprising. So you cannot reconcile the political noise and how the economy is doing. But I'll tell you, That is the inflation rate. If you invest in any form of business and you are earning less than that, please move out because you are wasting your money. You're actually throwing away your money. Okay? And I forgot to tell you, when you're investing in shares, it is actually like you would walk around. Therefore, will tell me whether I'm right or not. There's a parable of the sower in Mark, I think Mark chapter 4, where somebody was throwing money. Some was falling in good soil, another one in bad soil, and all this. Investing in stock exchange is like that. If you have money that you want tomorrow, don't invest in a stock exchange, because it's like throwing it. Some will fall in good soil, others will not even germinate, to be eaten by birds. That is the caution when they're investing in shares. I think I had forgotten to mention that earlier. So it is not for the faint-hearted, but it is very lucrative when the market moves in your favor. You wake up, you make money, and you get surprised what has happened. So invest wisely and make sure that your returns are above the inflation rate always. If there's a line on investment that is earning less than inflation rate, please move out. It's better to reduce your losses than to stick and have your losses increase. So let me stop there. And the next 2 steps are very light. We can take, is it 5 minutes? I don't know, 5 minutes break. We will have Q&A answers later, just to stretch. And we come and do 2 steps. They are very light. Very light, because it's step number 4 is about protecting, and step number 6 is about enjoying your wealth. So those ones will take us like 10 minutes. So I'm not worried when I say we take 5 minutes. Please let it be 5, because I know we might be pressed. Let it be 5 minutes, and then we pick from step 4 and 5. Very light, 10 minutes will be done. Then we'll have questions and answers from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daktari. So please, let's keep time. If we say 5 minutes, let it be 5 minutes, sharp. So that now we can be out of here in the next maybe 20 minutes or so. But we are not complaining. We are not complaining. We are not complaining. daktari.
Check. 5 minutes are over. Tafadhali wale wako nje tuingie. Tafadhali tuingie. We are still running behind time. Kwa hivyo wale wako kule nje tafadhali tuweze kurejea ili tuweze kuwa na wakati wa kumalizia.
series of buses, series of, people who have a lot of money, you have seen them. And in a short while, maybe people even had a lot of houses, a lot of maybe plots, and then in a short while, you hear they have nothing. What has happened? What happens? Sometimes it could be an element of mismanagement, but sometimes it has to do with calamities. In terms of if it is a house, it gets burned and you don't have money to rebuild the house. If it is a car, you have an accident, you are not insured it, so you don't have a car. Today you have a car, tomorrow you don't have a car. Yesterday you had a house, burns down today, you don't have it tomorrow. So this is a very important step in achieving financial freedom and also peace of mind. When you know that if your car is stolen or knocked, you have somewhere to turn it to and get it back. When you know your house gets burned down and you have to get it down, you can get it rebuilt. When you know I know there are even insurances on farming. This time there was a total crop failure. You have somewhere to go and make a claim and get something for that, for whatever you had incurred. That makes a lot of sense in life. So insurance is important in terms of managing, in terms of protecting our wealth. So what do we need to protect? One of the key things is the medical. These days, the medical, when you get sick, you go to these private hospitals, you hear the bill has gone to 3 million, 5 million. Maybe that was your net worth. So it is able to wipe out everything in less than a month. But if you had a medical insurance, the 5 million, the insurance will cater for, or a big chunk of that, the insurance will take care of. So as we work out step 1, 2, 3, remember we need to protect your wealth. So please let us ensure our health. Last expense, somebody dies, and watu wanaweka WhatsApp group, wanaweka mikutano, ndio wachange pesa, huyo mtu aweze kuzikwa. With that last expense, it becomes lighter. People will still changa because it's a tradition, but it will not be a difficult thing because the payment you get from the insurance, if you have insured well, like if you are in a family and you have like 4 people or 3 people who have last expense, covering up to 200,000, like the one I have myself, you see like 4 people, you'll be able to get that money, and then you changa, and it will be a lighter thing for you to bury your loved one. So you insure the last expense, you insure your car, you insure your house, you insure your business. Okay? So that's why I said this step is light, because you need to insure so that in case of an eventuality, you're able to get restored what you earned. Otherwise, you have wealth today, tomorrow is gone. I know, as a man of God, you may argue that insuring means that you don't trust God or you don't have faith that God can protect your wealth. That is food for thought. And if you argued that way, I could argue on the same breath that God is healer, is the one who heals us. He's a healer. We read it in the morning even. How come then you go to hospital? Why don't you trust God to heal you without going to hospital? Where I come from, there is a sect. It's called Kavonocha. Actually, they believe that God heals, so you don't need to go to hospital. But I'm telling you, they really go through a lot of suffering. So in the same breath, don't say you cannot insure and God will protect my wealth. Please do. Just as you go to hospital, make sure you insure so that your wealth is protected. And the last step, next slide. The last step is enjoying your wealth. I told you today it might be surprising. You may not have had it anywhere before, but a lot of people just look for money. Why do you have to look for that wealth in the first place if you cannot enjoy it? For who? And for what? Huh? You can imagine. You want to have money, you want to have a good car, you want to have a good house, you want to, what for? If you cannot enjoy it. So, there's was it Solomon, the one who wrote the book of Ecclesiastes? It should be chapter what? Chapter 2 or so, chapter 3, verse 19 to 20. He actually talked about it, that you really need to enjoy what you have earned in this short life when you are here on earth. If you read that verse, it will tell you exactly that after working so hard, you really need to enjoy your wealth. The question you are trying to answer here is, you have seen so many people with a lot of money, and they live a very sad life. They are always sad, they are not happy. So that is an indication that actually money is not the source of happiness. But you think if you have a lot of money, you live a very happy life. Why? There is one element that usually misses. Happiness is not about money. It is about that money you have. Are you able to share it with other people? Are you able to help the needy? I think that's why I said what we learned in the morning was really like in spirit, because it resonated very well with what we are learning now about enjoying wealth. To enjoy wealth, you need to share your wealth with others. When you help somebody, you feel a bit more satisfied that you have helped somebody who is in need. You need to treat yourself so that at least you encourage yourself that I worked so hard and I need to go for a holiday. I need to enjoy this bit of money. You need to treat your loved ones, and you need to serve God through tithing. So enjoying your wealth is very important because it gives you, let me say it's like it re-energizes you. It gives you more energy to continue working hard and working smart to make more money. So please remember that it's not about making money. The bottom line is, are you able to enjoy that money? And the best way to share it, to enjoy the money is sharing with others. Sharing with people in need, sharing with your family, and also treat yourself. Make sure you take care of yourself. And that way you have more energy to move forward in terms of looking for more money. So I think those are the five. Actually you can see, I'm sure you have read the first there. So those are the 5 stages of you can undertake to have financial freedom. Financial freedom free from the debt. Financial freedom free from financial strain, financial stress, and you can live a happy life. So let me go to the key takeaways. Then from there, you'll be able to take questions. There are 11 key takeaways. Again, you can't read from where you are seated, but me, I can read. So, if you have not understood anything, when I share the presentation with you, I advise that you can just print or just read master this one slide. This one slide. The first one is about income, if you remember. Please diversify your sources of income. Do not depend on one line of income. So if today you are only earning salary and nothing else, go and think twice. If today you are doing farming and nothing else, go and think twice. If you are doing business and you are doing nothing else, think twice and try to diversify your streams of income. So that's one of the key takeaways. Do not just depend on one. And if you have to depend on it, the second key is that if you have to depend on one business or one line of income, then you think of ways of making it better so that you can double, you can triple your income. I'm not saying that you cannot live on one line of income. You can. But remember, you have to work smart so that every year you're able to multiply that. You're able to increase that. Otherwise, if you don't, then inflation will be on you. And the third one is you really need to love work. You need to love work. You have to work hard. Let me share you, I don't know, I call that person a quack theologian. He once meant, I listened to him and I said, my God. But me, I don't subscribe to that what he said, but I can share with you. Because I know in Deuteronomy 29:29, what the Bible does not say, let's not say it. We only depend on what the Bible, if you read Deuteronomy 29:29, whatever is hidden from us, hiyo ni ya Mungu. Na ile imekuwa revealed, hiyo ndio tunafaa kujua. But this quack theologian, I'm using the word quack theologian, he said that this Adam in the Garden of Eden was given work by God to till the land and to take care of the fruit. And now he says that idleness, we know idleness is in fact he was saying that phrase, that statement, idleness is the workshop, devil's workshop. When you're idle, it is when devil is working in your mind. So he said, it is likely that if Adam was very busy. So you remember when Eve was tempted, Adam was not with us. So he said when Adam was busy doing what God had told him to do, Eve was idle. And that is why the devil was able to come and work on her head and work on her heart. And in the process, she did what God had said they should not do. So idleness is not something we should desire. When we wake up, don't take me seriously. When I say the senior citizen, they wake up at 11 or when wakati usingizi inaisha. It was in a light touch. You will not get me asleep ovyo. I wake up, have a plan for the day, and I do the activities of the day. I cannot manage to live a idle life. So idleness, let's love work, let's hate idleness. And that is one of the key takeaways, number 3. And the key takeaway, number 4 is, please, as we start a new year next year, God willing, can you make it your practice to do an annual plan? Ile unaita New Year's resolution, change it. Make it a financial plan. But this financial plan must be informed. Those who work in companies is usually informed by a strategic plan. Since you are an individual, I will not tell you to do a strategic plan. I will tell you to do your plan. Can you imagine in the year, are you not able in January or in December before January starts to say this year, I want to repair, maybe you have a house, I want to repaint my house, I want to replace my curtains, I want to repair my broken fence, either Oshago or Nairobi, I want to buy a car, I want to do this. Just 3, 4, 5 items that you can say, I want to do these 5 things in the year. So when you put those ones in the plan, I want to invest so much, I want to save so much. So put those things in your plan and then commit your plan before the Lord in January or even before, and then monitor that plan. And at the end of the year, you'll be able to see, out of the 5 items I said I do, have I done them? If you have not done them, you know why. So going forward, you are able to do things better. So that's another takeaway. It's a plan, and that plan will now turn into the financial budget or financial plan. Because to do that, you need the resources to do what you are planned for. And then the takeaway number 5 is you project and monitor your income, and project and monitor your expenses. And remember, our rule on that is that do not spend more than you earn. So if you find yourself spending more than you earn, you will be perpetually in debt. And before I wind up, let me talk about debt there. I have a tool I can assist you. I will not charge you. I have a tool I developed myself. It's called a tool. A journey to. It's a tool on a journey to financial freedom. To debt freedom. Journey to debt freedom. I have a tool I've developed myself. I did not get it from Simon because I'm a practitioner, but I can do it with you as a way of counseling. I do financial counseling, by the way. I'm sure you've never heard of that. Have you ever heard of that? Financial counseling. I do financial counseling because a lot of people suffer, are weighed down by debts to an extent that they are living a very miserable life. So what I do, it is not very different from the other counseling, but you come, you tell me all your debts, because if you hide, they are not my debts, they are your debts. You tell me all your debts, you tell me all your income, and then we work out what you are calling that journey, that tool for debt freedom. I've taken some people through it, but it's very painful and very, very tedious and sometimes very painful. But when you can you imagine you living without a debt? Because if I ask you how many people don't have debt, it may not be possible. But let me tell you, in fact, it's good I've remembered. Last month I went to see my doctor. He's a professor, and he was giving me a lot of drugs. Then I asked him a very, very funny question. I said, Professor, why are you giving me so many drugs? Are you suggesting that at my age I can live without pain even on my toe or even any? Are you suggesting I can live without pain at my age? Asked me, oh, young man, it's not even your age. People can live even up to 100 years without pain. Hi. It's really surprised. What do you mean? I will not have pain because I was complaining of pain on my legs. I said, yes, you can live up to 100 years without pain. Okay, I did not believe it because in my mind I was fixated that at old age you must have pain. I'm sure many of you are share the same thinking with me. But he told me, no, it's not true. You can go up to 100 years, live without pain. So on the same breath, I know some of you are asking me, Daktari, are you saying somebody can live without a debt? I'm sure that's what is running in the minds of many of you. Are you sure? Are you sure someone can live without a debt? I'm telling you it is possible. Do you believe that? Me, I did not believe what the doctor told me until I went and read a verse in the Bible which says that God can bless you with good health. Actually believed based on that verse, not on what the doctor told me, because I couldn't imagine at my age I will not have pain even on the toe or anywhere. I thought that is obvious. But at least I saw that. But believe me not, you can live without a debt. You can live without a debt by adopting this framework. And if you are adopting it when you have a debt, you can go through that debt to freedom, journey to debt freedom, and then you are able to come out of debt in a period of 2, 3, 4, depending on how deep you are. Because the problem with the debt is that once you have a debt, you continue digging. It's just like our country, the way it's doing. Although it is not the only one, there are many countries. They find themselves in the debt, they borrow to pay. When I'm counseling that financial, I wonder, when you borrow to pay, have you paid the debt? Anyone, you can see that paradox? Huh? Have you paid, Joshua? You borrow money to pay another debt. It's nothing you have done. Zero. You have done zero work. You have only transferred from Tom to Titus. But you still hold the money. So it doesn't make sense. So the only way you say you have paid debt is when you have earned money and use that money to pay debt. So in that tool of debt, freedom to debt freedom, journey to debt freedom, it is not about borrowing money to pay debt. It is about disciplining yourself to use the money you have to pay the debts until you clear them, and then you can have peace of mind for the rest of your life. Believe me, it is possible. You can live without debts. It is possible. You can live without debts. Just like my doctor told me, believe it, it can work. So when you in those takeaways, make sure that you do not spend more than you are earning. I know it is difficult, but it requires a lot of discipline. And if you have been doing that, you're already in debt. So talk to me. I will not charge you as a brethren. I'll just guide you. But you have to be ready. If you want to come out of the debt, you have to be ready to go through a very painful painful journey, because it may require you to sell some of the things you have to pay. It may require you to cut down everything, your lifestyle you've been used to pay the debts. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, if you have no debt, you can live a very peaceful life. Very, very peaceful life. So, hey, why is the screen? It's back. Okay. Takeaway number 6 is tithing faithfully. I'm not going to re-emphasize that. We discussed about that. How tithing, God has said He will bless you. Paka ukose mahali ya kuweka. And then you also protect what you have. Number 7 is plan your earnings and investments. Plan your savings and investments. Let savings not be from what has remained. Let investments not be from what has remained. Let the money you intend to enjoy not be from what remains. So it means you have to be deliberate in your plan. What you want to do, make it lazima in your plan. Don't do it from what remains. There is nothing that remains after you spend. Most likely there will be nothing or very little. Then there is a one of the final one. The second last one is protect your wealth. I think we have covered that one. Take it away. Ensure your health. Ensure your death. Ensure your that is last expense. Ensure your car, your house, your business, everything that you love. Ensure, including your people. And finally, you actually you enjoy your wealth. I'm sure I've covered that you need to share, treat yourself, share with others, and even use it to tithe and help those who are in need. I think that card, that key takeaways is really loaded. If you just print it and apply what is there, life will not be the same again. So let me stop there and say I'm so thankful for listening to me. I know this is a very wide topic, but I've tried to rush it over. This is something you can do over a week. Normally run it. When I used to, in my previous life, whenever I was teaching this, I would teach this for a whole week, from Monday to Friday. and we have done it in under 2 hours. So I know I've really rushed it because we go into practicals, we do it practically, and we illustrate everything, but we didn't have that opportunity. But I will share the notes with you in PDF immediately after this class. So don't worry, you'll be able to read, you'll be able to see the companies, what you need to do to invest in those money market shares and even government securities. I'll share with you. Everything is there. And it is readable. It's not as small as it is in the screen. So with that, I submit and I invite you for questions. I'm ready to take your questions. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you, Dr. for that very wonderful presentation. We've learned quite a lot. I want to ask and see this area, steps to financial freedom, that is investment. You have given us a number of avenues of investments, instruments, so to speak. My question is, would you consider land a good investment?
Thank you. I think I had already talked about that. Maybe you will not come back. Idle land. It boils down to, if you are following our presentation on the risk appetite, whether you would want to invest in idle land. I don't think it's a good idea. It's good to buy land, but at a certain point after it appreciates, maybe when you are at this age, the seniors at your age now, the senior citizen, that land is not earning you anything. And in case you are taken ill, if somebody tries to sell that land to take you to hospital, it will be next to impossible. So if you bought land when you are young and it has appreciated, like the land I was telling you, hours which has multiplied, I don't know, almost 18 times or more, why don't you dispose it? Put that money, which is now, will be now in millions, in a government bond, and then you sit down, relax, and wait for your interest. In fact, personally, that's what I do. Whatever I bought earlier, if it appreciates, let's say I bought a land like $1 million, and now I can get 10 million, I sell it, get 10 million, put it in the government bond like infrastructure bond. 10 million gives me 875,000 every 6 months, tax-free. Every 6 months I'll get that amount in my account. What will I do with that money? I have no school fees, I have no children, I have nothing. Isn't that a lot of money? I'll just sit down and enjoy. And number 5. So you see, but I would have stuck with that land of 10 million and it's earning 0. I don't know what will I do with it. But you see, this investment in government bond is not different from that land, because at the end of the day, when it matures, or even if I die, my people will get the 10 million. It hasn't gone anywhere. What I'm eating is the interest. The principal amount remains intact. So they'll have their 10 million there instead of the land, which is idle. But that depends on your risk appetite. It depends on your risk appetite. If your risk is you fear government securities, for example, then you may continue keeping the land, but you are losing because you are earning nothing out of it. Earning nothing. Yes, another question?
Thank you for your exciting presentation. My question is, when is the best time to invest and the best time to exit, and in terms of age-wise?
Thank you. When is the best time to invest? The best time to invest, in fact, if you followed our presentation, investing should be just from the day one when you start earning income. That means when you are pretty young, when you have been employed, or when you have started business, you start from day one so that you can multiply. There is something we call the compounded interest, or multiply effect. You are able to multiply that, whatever little you have over time. If today you are to sit down and see if you had invested 100 shillings when you started working, you'll be amazed now how many millions that 100 would have turned to. That's why it's important to start investing early in life. Immediately you start earning, invest. Exiting, it is not really exiting. It's called a portfolio readjustment or realignment. You are not exiting. When you grow old, you don't exit investment. You realign your investment. When you are old, what do you need? You need cash. When you are retired, when you are old, you need cash to operate. So you realign your assets from non-cash or non-liquid assets and bring them to cash, close to cash assets. For example, I didn't tell you that those government bonds, even if I've invested for 17 or 30 years, I can still go to the secondary market and sell them. I am sure many people don't know that. Leave alone the bills which are for a short term, but the government bonds which are even for 30 years, I can go, give my agent, and sell them just like I sell shares. But the issue is, unless something has happened drastically, why would I sell that long-term investment? Yet I'm enjoying the interest after every 6 months. But in the event you need to sell, for example, maybe the hospital bill needs to be settled, then it can still be sold. But it is a cash investment which is earning you money. So when you grow old, you don't exit investment. What you do, you realign. You realign. You may find that even I wouldn't advocate for selling houses because your kids can benefit from the houses, but sana the lands, plots, whatever. These ones, because even if you don't sell them, they'll be sold. So afadhali uze uendelee kukula the interest, lakini ukikufa they will still get the money because you are not eating the principal, you are only living on interest. But even if you leave the land, it will be the first thing to be sold because they know it is useless. It's useless, it's not giving them anything. At least iko kwa investment, government bonds or securities, it might last longer because they are seeing the interest coming. Because you normally give a kin, next of kin. So even if you die, the security can continue, or even if they want to liquidate, it will still go to your next of kin. So it's better. Then you don't have to strain in your old age because cash is coming in every now and then. So it's not that you stop investing, you realign, you readjust your investment portfolio. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Daktari, for your presentation. Mine is a contribution and a concern at the same time. You, according to the point number 1 in creation of wealth, you totally disagree about gambling. But let me assure you, today, 12th October 2024, statistics shows that 15 million Kenyans will place jackpot. If you multiply that by 99 shillings, it translates to 1.48 billion, which will go to the owner of the company. So, do you want to settle us that man is not in business because at the end of the day, if the worst happens, and by the worst I mean if the jackpot is gone, the owner will lose only 384 million. He will remain with 1.1 billion or 1.2 billion shillings. Is that not a good investment? And it has a day, only today, the weekend. Secondly, it's my concern, you said that 75% of the frictions comes from finance. And by friction, I understand it in physics, where it's the resistance in the life, that is. So does it mean we are supposed to be poor so that we can be happy? According to your presentation, do we have to live poor so that we can be happy? Because I tend to believe money is supposed to come and wipe some issues and mitigate some of the problems so that you can live happily. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Those are very good questions. I'll start with number one. Number one, let me admit that I misunderstood when you said gambling as a business. I understood it as playing. I mean, you are the one playing. I'm sure many of you understood it that way, isn't it? So we understood the playing part of it. You are putting money to win. That's what we are saying. We don't advocate for that. But now I've understood what you are saying. You are the owner of the gambling company. But as a Christian, you really need to think twice. It's like now, you see now you are not willing to gamble because it's not a very clean business. And then you run a gambling company. You have to think twice. I will draw a parallel with you don't take beer. No, you don't take a beer and then you set up a bar. What are you telling us as a Christian? No, but that's not my argument. The money is coming from the beer. So I think we can debate that outside here, but it's a business. But I misunderstood it, sorry. I misunderstood that you are saying to play gamble. No, that one I was saying is not a good thing. But now it is you as the owner of the company, that's a business. It's just like a Shylock. You are a Shylock business. You're also lending, giving money and squeezing people out of their interest, their money. It's not, let's think of ethics, ethical business. Ethics is very important business. As a Christian, let's consider ethics whenever we are running a business, because it's not just about money. It is how clean that money is. Then the second one, I think that one now, it is the opposite. It's you misunderstood me. The second one is the friction or the disagreements or the conflict in the family are brought because of money. When we have, it's not that, actually when you are poor, when you don't have the money, if you listen to me, that's when you have more frictions. So you need to have the money so that when mama comes, you remember, mama says, I want to go to saloon. You know they will not use their money to go to saloon. Ama ni wangu tu anafanyanga hivyo. Kwanza, let me admit akona pesa mingi sahi because like now I'm senior citizen. Bado anafanya biashara. But I can tell you she will not take her money to go to saloon. Naye ndiye akona pesa mingi kuniliko. So if you listen, I gave that story. Mama anataka kwenda saloon, huna pesa. Mtoto wanataka wamefukuza shule, warudishi shule. Mama anataka pesa ya mboga, akanunue nyama, hauna. So you understand it the other way around. It is that constraint of finances that brings the conflict among the family. So when you manage, in this seminar, when you manage your funds, finances in a way that plate you enroll there always has something. And whenever you throw your hand, you're able to pick a piece. No kwate kikulucha nyamavu. I think for those who understand that language, that French, unaweza pick a piece of meat from that plate every time throughout the month. Conflict imeisha. Kuna mtu utasikia watoto wako shule, mama anaenda saloon, mnakula vizuri. So kuna conflict. So there you misunderstood me. Okay, Chairman, utaniambia kama nina maswali. Tuchukue ngapi? 3, 2. Katiku and our friend here.
And it's good to mention our name tukiuliza maswali.
All right. Okay, thank you. My name is Augustine Madeka. One, I want to commend you, Daktari. I think I've attended 3 financial seminars. And one unique thing with your outline is that you've incorporated the biblical aspect in every stage. That is unique. I've not encountered that. I don't know whether I misunderstood you or whether you did, but one thing I noted is you mentioned about inheritance, and you focused on it's not really a must. When I was getting married, the Reverend back then, that is a scripture he gave. And this is Proverbs 13:22. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. So I got concerned about that mention because I believe we've seen very many families whereby they accumulate wealth, but by the time the wazes are gone, the children have got nothing to have. Then for those of us who come from that place you come, they say mali ya huyo mzee ilikuwa ya majini, ilienda na yeye. So I believe as you build wealth, it could be good if you could incorporate the same to the children, and you leave some inheritance for them, even if not so much, but something for them. The other mentioned, the other question, I had a question, and this is in regards to, not a question but a comment. This is in regards to the investments. We've had one of us mention about land, and you've insisted on the financial assets, the shares and the bonds. I'm a finance professional, and there has been some revelations and some research that is ongoing, which is saying we've got so much obsession with the tangible assets, that is land and property, but as our age progresses, it's not advisable. I love a plot that is in Jericho, and I'm in my 70s. I don't even have the energy to pursue the rent collections. But when you invest in the financial assets, whichever is mentioning, money will just be coming to your account wherever you are. So that is something you can elaborate further, I think, to the group. It's important for the developed economies, they focus more on the financial assets, and the principle that you invest in is now given to professionals to do the tangible investments and give you the return, as it happens with bonds and money market funds. And in the end, the return is even more than what we get from the tangible assets. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madeka. I will take it very briefly. The first question was on what? Inheritance. There, I think now, I think you also did not understand me properly, but it's good you have asked for clarification. What I said is that inheritance, it is not that you plan to have inheritance for your children, but when you manage your wealth, and listen to me, by default, and if you have been following what I've been saying, by default, when you die, everything is left because you have something. It may be a house, it may be a government bond, it may be a piece of land that you are not sold, because when you die, you don't know when you are dying. You may die and leave some piece of land. So my point was that it is not deliberate that I invest for my children. You see the difference? And I plan. When I'm investing so that my children can inherit. That's what I say, that should not be the case. But you invest so that you have something for tomorrow, and by default when you die. Kwani ukikufa hawezi sikuwa na anything. Ukikufa hata pesa ile iko account, iko kwa government bond, iko kwa land, iko wapi, it is left. But deliberately you are not buying those things for your kids. That was my argument. It's not a deliberate plan. You invest for yourself, but back in your mind, you know, when you die, definitely by default, those ones will refer to your children, even to your spouse if she's alive. The second question was about, I think I agree with you, and that is what just a question I've answered about realignment. But your point is that you still don't need to sell that plot or that house so that you can give it to people to run it for you. One thing, at what age, I wouldn't, maybe I feel like that because I'm a finance professional, I wouldn't feel nice to entrust my property with people to run it for me. And that's why I'm going for the easier option, where the money is the government and the rating, the risky rate is 0, than giving it to people to run it for me, because they will be, watakuwa nakula management fee, watakuwa nakula commission. Now you never know in the process what will happen when you die. For sometimes people are crooked. They might cook documents and your family actually may not even get back that property. So you are safer to keep most of your property with you. I'm saying it maybe because I'm a finance person. Keep everything with you. And when you die, make sure even as you keep it, you have the family's interests included in all those, so that when you die, because death comes unnoticed, unannounced, then they can take over from there. So your view is valid. If somebody has good professionals or maybe relatives who they can trust, they can give the property to run it. Because at old age, you don't need to struggle running after tenants to pay, running after all this property, or somebody is extending the border. No, it's not worth it. You need peace of mind. Thank you. Chairman, is that the last one?
Daktari, I'm used to talking when I'm standing, because being a teacher, that's a policy. You can't go and sit there and start teaching unless you're only a lazy person. First of all, thank you very much for what we have got from you. I've known you for many years, even out of the church, but I've never known that you know all this. Should have told me all those years that we were together. I would have invested. Now I'm being told to invest when in my evening years, I don't know what to do. But this is my question. We're talking about investments, and I will not want to insist on what he said, that when you are having a gambling company and you are not the one gambling, then I thought you said that's not as bad. Yeah? You said it's bad. Yeah, you related all that, but I'm talking about that gives you money that you cannot allow your own child to know. Are you getting what I'm talking about? Something is earning you quite a lot, yet you cannot approve of any of your children or your brother or relatives to do. Then is there a point of doing it? There would be no point. I know you said no, but some people feel it is not. But I want to say, here, we are talking as Christians. And as Christians, anything that will affect my brother or affect anyone, I would not even think of doing it, even if it was giving me money. Is that not a point? Now, looking at that, I am not carrying anybody's information. I am only supposed to carry a cross, and the cross is never belonging to any one of us. It has got the honor. He came and carried it and died. So until I walk out of this, I will never want to mislead anyone. That's the point I am putting. But this is my second question. When you say, when we talk of sickness and we put insurance, what is it that our faith talking about? Doesn't the Bible say that we shall be kept health? Is it true? Am I making mistake? Whatever you ask, when I ask about my good health, why do I need to put insurance? And God is giving me that good health. Why do I have to put so much money for insurance so that when I'm very sick, they take me to Nairobi hospital? Yet I asked God to give me that insurance of health. I think, let's look at it. Am I faithful enough? When I'm putting millions, yet I'm telling God, help me so that I don't become sick. Yet I put money so that when I am sick.
Thank you very much, Manakatiko, for your comments. I think the first question we agree. You just said what I said. As a Christian, you have to practice ethics in terms of the business you are in, whether yourself, your relatives, actually, or even your friends. If something you know it's not good you to do, so you don't tempt the other people to do. That one we agreed. And that's why I drew a parallel with the bar. I know taking beer is bad, then I go and open a bar as a Christian. What am I saying? So I gave that illustration. Okay, the second point is also like you missed. We had a discussion. I said it's a food of thought. We may not dispense with it here. When we are talking of insuring your property, I did not even talk about insuring your health. I mentioned, and it is there in my slides, that some of you will argue that God will protect my wealth, God will protect my property, God will protect my car, God will protect my house. And I gave an example that is, when I say it's a food for thought, it means it's something that is open for discussion, something we can argue and discuss. But I did not buy that argument for my view, myself, because I gave you an example of that sect in my place. Did you hear me talk about Kavonokia? Those who believe that God is the one who used them, and so they don't take medicine, and so they don't go to hospital. Unless, Katiku, you belong to that sect. You are also arguing the same, that God gives me good health, but why do you take medicine? Why do you go to hospital? So we are saying this insurance is just to take care of your bills. Because when we are talking about protecting wealth, of late, actually in the recent times, if there is one big way of clearing one's wealth, it is hospital bill. Mzee amekuwa na mali mingi, anakuwa mgonjwa, anaenda ICU, hiyo mali yote inauzwa, anaenda nayo. But if you have that insurance, see, falling sick when you are in this world, ukiwa kwa hii dunia, let's say, talk about it biblically. You have to go through whatever happens here will happen to you. So kama ni kukua mgonjwa, utakuwa mgonjwa. Whether you are a Christian or not a Christian. So it doesn't have to deal with your faith. So kama utakuwa mgonjwa na upeleke hospitali, the insurance will pay for you. Why not pay the insurance? Because I pay premium of 200, for example, and like me, I'm covered for, let's say, up to 5 million inpatient. So surely I pay 200, I get sick, bill goes to 4 million, the insurance pays all of it. My property remains intact. That was our argument, that your property is protected when you insure all those things. But let's speak it outside here, because it's food for thought. something that is open for discussion. Thank you. Unless, is there another burning question? Wow. Nimeshukuru sana. Survive all that. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, Boni, do we have another? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Daktari. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. Ni kama kuna mtu mwingine wakati tulikuwa na seminar hapa aliuliza kuna haja ya kuwa na lawyer in life. Wanini ama unangojea makesi. Just the same like that. Preparing for anything that may come in terms of interfering with what you already have. Thank you, Daktari. It has been a long journey preparing for this seminar. We have had very long meetings to ensure that everything is set. And it has come to a conclusion. I know we have learned something. I know we are not the same again. As we usually say, when you come to church, we don't go home the same way we came. We have now been baptized. It's upon us now to take action. In man enough, we say we take the initiative. I think I will be the first patient to see Daktari because I am in debt. So I will come